Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley called former President Trump totally unhinged during an interview Friday on Fox News referencing the recent threat he made to blacklist donors who give to Haley. The former South Carolina governor also criticized the Republican National Committee's move to declare Trump as the presumptive GOP nominee, with only two states having held contests so far. An effort Trump reportedly backed but then publicly declined. First of all, you had election night. Trump gets on stage, he throws an absolute temper tantrum talking about revenge. But he says nothing about the American people. Nothing about what he's going to do about the wasteful spending that he encouraged and allowed the Republicans, Democrats to do in his term. Haley said Friday. He said nothing about how he's going to secure the border and what he's going to do different than he did do when he was president before. He said nothing about how he's going to prevent war. The former UN ambassador then re-upped her criticism about the threats Trump made to donors, in which he said they would not be a part of the MAGA camp if they donated to Haley, his sole remaining rival in the 2024 primary race. Then he goes and says that he's going to ban anyone from MAGA that donates to me. Think about that, Haley said. That's a president who's supposed to serve every person in America, and you're deciding that you're going to have a club and actually ban people from being in and out of your club. The former South Carolina governor then said that Trump encouraged RNC members to crown him as the presumptive GOP nominee, despite later issuing a statement suggesting the party halt the effort. The resolution was spearheaded by RNC committee member David Bozie and would effectively end the Republican primary. Allegedly, some RNC members criticized the move to deprive the voters a choice in the primary process. And then he goes and encourages the members of the RNC and tries to. Oh, let me do my Haley impression. And then he goes and encourages the members of the RNC and tries to push them into saying that he's the nominee in the race. I mean, they got so much pushback that he had to backtrack. That's actually a good line. Haley said, but at the end of the day, our focus is still on the American people. A Republican candidate needs to win 1,215 delegates to secure the GOP bid. Trump has 32. Fox News host Dana Perino asked Haley if she had spoken to RNC chair Ronna McDaniel after McDaniel earlier this week said the party would unite behind Trump. I let her know how disappointed I was. Haley responded. Well, quite a bit to unpack here. To start things off, it's nice to see, even if it's too little too late in the opinion of both me and people like David Pakman, one of Trump's rivals criticizing him in a strong manner, right? Oh, he threw a temper tantrum about talking about revenge, and he doesn't say anything about the American people. Because that was a point I made before, that you can go back and watch Trump rallies and Trump speeches and Trump related things from 2016 and 2020, and whether you liked him or not, he talked about issues. He talked about the economy, he talked about the border, he talked about foreign policy here and there. You know, Trump of this year is not the one from the last two election cycles. It's a guy who's trying to dodge prison, who's got 91 criminal charges, and just really is very substanceless. And a few times that he says something relating to what he's going to do, you either don't believe it or it's just crazy. Like, oh, I'm going to protect Medicaid and Social Security, even though I tried to cut them when I was president through my budget proposals, stuff like that. So it's nice to see her going on the offense, or rather the offense, even if it's in my opinion too little, too late. Um, he said nothing about how he's going to prevent war. That's really funny because, she's considered a neocon and this big war person trying to support Ukraine and Israel. But this is funny. Then he goes and says that he's going to ban anyone from MAGA that donates to me. That's a president supposed to serve every person in America, and you're deciding that you're going to have a club and actually see the point she should have made isn't even like, oh, he's going to ban people and like, he's supposed to represent. What she should have said is, you know, if you win this nomination, you're going to need the Republican Party, and whether you like it or not, there is a solid almost 200,000 people out of the 400,000 votes cast that have supported Haley. So maybe if you're going to, people talk trash to each other when they run against each other, but don't maybe not try to like target or alienate those voters who really have nothing to do with your problem with this lady. Just a thought. So she really should have said that instead of the whole "oh, you're supposed to represent everybody" thing, because that's more nebulous crap. We're talking about specific facts relating to trying to win elections, and he's not looking too popular with independents. So if he's the nominee, he's going to need everyone that voted in that primary to support him, or at least most of them. And the way to do it is not telling them, if you donate to this person, I'm banning you from joining the MAGA crowd or whatever. Just weird stuff. Um, I didn't make a video about that resolution. I didn't know that Trump reportedly backed it and then publicly declined. I haven't seen any evidence of that, so I'm gonna take him at his word that he declined it, because I did see where he publicly came out against it. All I can say is, it's even if I think Trump is going to win, even though losing New Hampshire was this big like death nail to Haley's campaign, and I don't even like talking about this primary anymore. I still think there is logic to the idea of, hey, only two states have voted. Maybe we should let the other states play things out. Can we get at least a third of the country to vote before we decide? Okay, primary's over. Time to spend the next 8 months talking trash about Biden. Like, damn, or not 8 months, but nine, 10, however long it is till November. He goes and encourages members of the RNC and tries to push them into saying that he's nominee of the race. That's gonna be my most remembered line from her. I mean, they got so much pushback that he had to backtrack. You could tell she rehearsed that. Our focus is still on the American people. Um, if she really did let McDaniel know how disappointed, well, everybody is disappointed in McDaniel. Think about this: McDaniel is apparently the longest serving RNC chair since the Civil War, and every election cycle that lady has presided over, the Republicans have underperformed or lost altogether. So Haley's joining a long list of people and just not wanting her to, and being disappointed in her, rather, even if she doesn't specifically call for her to resign or anything. Um, but I think McDaniel doing that actually was part of an effort to stay close to Trump in case, you know, she wants to try and run for. She says she's not going to run for another term. I don't know if I believe that, because then it's like, are you going to try to run for office in Michigan? It's just one of those things where you can almost feel like they want the position, but they know that people are trying to force them out, and they kind of are trying to like jockey for something else. So maybe she feels like if she's nice to Trump and says, "Oh yeah, two states voted, he won those two. Let's cancel the primary." Uh, maybe she feels that if she does that, she can get a cabinet position, or some other job related to him winning the White House, if he able to win the White House this time around. Could you imagine if, like, I'm gonna close out with this, but like, imagine if in 2020, after Sanders won, are supposedly tied in Iowa and then outright won New Hampshire and Nevada, if the Democrats were like, okay, Sanders is the nominee, time to cancel the primary, first person apparently in a long time to win the first three states, so that's it, close it up. Like, that's what I thought was funny. It's like, if you develop a perception of something, it can actually, and I'm not trying to give a figure of speech here on purpose, but it can trump reality. So like, even though only two states have voted, the Republicans are actually confident of, like, yeah, Trump's going to win everything. Don't even bother. Let's just have 4 more months of primary contest where there's only one person running, which would, if Haley were to drop out, whatever little bit of support she's getting right now would be drained instantly, because why would people vote for someone who's no longer in the race? That discourages them. So they would be creating the reality of the Trump status as presumptive nominee by just caving in and folding and saying, okay, two contests in, he's going to win, and now everybody is out, so he's the only person you can vote for because he's the only person still in the race. So that I find that interesting. Just like this primary, I'm really gonna I'm gonna keep my word about, I'm not as interested in it as I was, but just like the whole back and forths and kind of like character stuff is fascinating to me. Just seeing people, be at each other's throats about things that really shouldn't matter. Like, I don't see any logic in telling another person's supporters don't back me. Like, if I ran for office and somebody donated to me, I'm not going to go, "Oh, you backed Trump and now you're donating to me." You're banned. It's like, just, it's weird. Just so selective. And really, he's in no position to be selective, but I digress.